Imagine, imagine sprinting full speed on a treadmill. Your lungs are completely burning, your legs are heavy, and you are giving it absolutely everything you have.
Right, just total exhaustion.
Exactly. And the guy right next to you is just casually walking. I mean, he's barely breaking a sweat.
Mhm.
Yet, somehow, when you look at the distance tracker, he's winning the race.
It's the worst feeling in the world.
It really is. Well, welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are looking at a matchup between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Washington Wizards that perfectly captures why raw, chaotic energy almost always loses to calculated, methodical structure.
Yeah, and right off the bat, I think we need to tell you, you don't need to be a diehard basketball fan to get something out of this.
No, not at all.
Because what we are really unpacking today is a masterclass in organizational strategy. We're looking at what happens when two completely different franchise timelines collide on the exact same floor.
It's a localized study of a much broader concept, right?
Exactly. We are taking a single game and looking at it through the lens of philosophy, structure, and execution under pressure.
And the setting for this collision is just perfect. I mean, we are in an iconic arena. The bright lights are glaring. The celebrity courtside seats are totally filled.
Which is a whole vibe on its own.
Right. And the fans are absolutely roaring from the moment the doors open. It's that quintessential, almost mythical environment where every single possession feels heavy.
It's the kind of stage that instantly magnifies the stakes. And I think that brings us to the core contrast of this deep dive.
Let's lay it out.
So, on one side, you have the Los Angeles Lakers. This is a franchise steep in championship history. I mean, they are carrying superstar expectations every single night.
And the media attention.
Oh, the constant glaring media attention tracking their every move. And their roster is built with a veteran core that is explicitly designed to contend for a title right now, today.
Yeah, contention isn't, a hope for them. It is the bare minimum expectation. Anything less is considered an absolute massive failure.
Exactly. And then on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, you have the Washington Wizards.
Total contrast.
Complete contrast. This is a team in a major transition phase. They are trying to build an identity from the ground up, focusing heavily on developing extremely young players.
And honestly, just trying to survive.
Right, just trying to find their footing in a very demanding Eastern Conference.
So for you listening, whether you are managing a team at work, building a business, or just navigating your own high-stress environments, we want to invite you to look past the final scoreboard today.
Because the score doesn't tell the whole story.
Exactly. We're going to show you how this single game perfectly captures a universal story. Experience versus youth, and strategy versus spontaneity.
It really is a clash of organizational DNA, and you see that from the very first moment the ball is tipped into the air.
Right.
Because a team's franchise philosophy directly dictates its immediate on-court strategy.
Yeah, from the jump, the contrast is glaring. The Lakers rely on this highly structured offense and a very physical, bruising defense.
Very methodical.
It's super methodical. But meanwhile, the Wizards come out pushing the pace to an extreme degree. I mean, they are leaning entirely into youthful energy, quick transitions, and just launching perimeter shots before the defense can even get set.
Well, when you are the underdog and you are in that transition phase as a franchise, you come into a game like this with absolutely nothing to lose.
Which is dangerous.
It is a very dangerous mindset for an opponent to deal with. The Wizards come out incredibly aggressive because they want to inject variance into the game.
What do you mean by variance in this context?
Well, if they play a slow, methodical game against a superior veteran team, they will lose 10 times out of 10.
Right, the veterans just execute better.
Exactly. So they fire off early three-pointers and relentlessly attack the rim, hoping to create chaos. They want the game to be messy.
They want to disrupt the Lakers' rhythm immediately, like hit them in the mouth, force them to scramble, and quiet that roaring home crowd before the fans can even become a factor.
And it's a brilliant strategy for a young team. But the thing is, the Lakers don't panic.
Not at all.
They respond with pure methodology. LeBron James starts orchestrating the offense like a seasoned conductor. He isn't rushing down the floor.
He actually walks the ball up.
Literally walks it up. He diagnoses the defense, points to where his teammates need to be, and hunts for very specific mismatches.
Okay, wait, let me challenge that for a second.
Sure.
If the Wizards are so fast and aggressive, and they are clearly trying to run the Lakers off the floor, why didn't the Lakers just match their speed? I mean, the Lakers have better players. Why not just run with them and blow them out playing their own game?
That is the ultimate trap, and it's exactly what the Wizards are hoping for.
Really?
Yeah. If you run with a fast, chaotic team, you invite unpredictability, you turn a game of chess into a coin flip, the Lakers know their advantage lies in a half-court game.
Okay, let's define that real quick for someone who might not know. What makes a half-court game so different?
A half-court game means the defense is already back, they're set up, and they're waiting for you.
So no easy fast breaks?
Right. There are no easy, wide-open lanes to the basket. You have to pass the ball, run actual plays, set screens, and execute with precision to get a good shot.
And that neutralizes the speed.
It completely neutralizes the Wizards' speed advantage and forces them to think rather than just react.
It's kind of like a massive freight train going up against a swarm of bees.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, the bees, the Wizards want to dart around, sting quickly, and create all this confusion. But the freight train,
Yeah.
the Lakers, knows that if it just stays on its tracks and keeps moving at a steady, heavy pace, it will eventually crush everything in its path.
That underlying tension is what makes the first quarter so fascinating. The Wizards' speed is absolutely what keeps them competitive early on. It allows them to trade baskets and stay in the mix.
But the Lakers never really lose control.
Never. The Lakers' sheer experience ensures they never actually lose control of the game's underlying tempo. Even when the Wizards score a lightning-fast bucket, the Lakers just, pick the ball up, casually walk it back down the court, and force the Wizards to defend a grueling 20-second set play.
It's a fascinating feeling out process.
Yeah.
But this speed versus structure clash gets its ultimate test when the starting lineups sit down.
Yes. The rotations.
Right, let's look at what happens when the bench players take over in the second quarter.
This is a crucial stress test for any organization. When the main gravitational pull of your team, your superstars, are sitting on the bench in tracksuits, what is actually left?
The culture, basically.
Exactly. The second quarter essentially becomes a battle of the underlying culture.
And the Lakers' depth is huge here. I mean, their role players step onto the floor and immediately reflect that veteran contending mindset.
They know their roles.
They really do. They aren't trying to be superstars. They are knocking down open shots when they get them. They are hustling for rebounds. And most importantly, they are maintaining the exact same defensive structure as the starters.
There's no drop-off in the system itself.
Right.
But on the other side, the Wizards show massive resilience with their second unit. Their young bench players come in and crank that frenetic energy up even higher.
They're diving on the hardwood for loose balls.
Gambling on passing lanes, yeah. They are purposely fueling a chaotic environment. Like we said earlier, they want the game to be messy.
And it almost works. The Wizards go on this rapid, explosive scoring run, and it's entirely fueled by forcing live ball turnovers.
Which are devastating.
Oh, absolutely. The Lakers make a sloppy pass, a Wizards player tips it, and suddenly 3 guys are sprinting the other way for a fast break dunk.
Fast breaks are deadly because they are unstructured. You are attacking a defense that is literally running backward, trying to figure out who to guard on the fly.
It is pure instinct versus panic.
Yeah.
If you've ever been in a high-stress meeting at work where something just goes totally wrong, everyone starts talking over each other, and panic just suddenly sets in, you know exactly what the Lakers were feeling right here.
The momentum completely swings.
The crowd gets incredibly anxious, and the Lakers are forced to call a timeout, which leads to a massive reset.
A crucial reset.
Yeah, out of that break, LeBron re-enters the game, visibly slows the tempo down, reestablishes order, and ultimately secures a slight halftime lead. But so what does this all mean for momentum? It feels like the Wizards throw an absolute haymaker with that scoring run, but the Lakers just casually step out of the way by calling a simple timeout. Is it really that easy to stop panic?
Well, the mechanics of that timeout are a masterclass in leadership. If we connect this to the bigger picture, veteran teams use timeouts very differently than young teams do.
How so?
A young team might call a timeout because they're physically exhausted or maybe they're confused about a play, but a veteran championship caliber team uses a timeout as a highly calibrated emotional weapon.
Oh, wow. It's like breaking a fever.
That is the perfect way to look at it. When the Wizards are running and gunning, they are operating purely on adrenaline. Their heart rates are way up. They have tunnel vision. They are feeling invincible.
Right, they're riding the wave.
Exactly. By calling that timeout, the Lakers force everyone to stop. The adrenaline naturally fades as the players just sit on the bench for 2 minutes.
The arena music stops. The crowd sits down.
The squeaking of the shoes stops. The game is physically and emotionally halted.
And when play resumes, the Lakers don't try to answer with a crazy run of their own.
No, they don't need to.
Right. They just force the Wizards back into that grinding, half-court, methodical game. They use the timeout to literally change the environment back to one they control.
They absolutely refuse to let the crisis dictate their behavior.
So they weather the storm and take a slight lead into halftime. But coming out of the locker room, we get to see what people around the league call the championship quarter.
The third quarter.
Yeah. Historically, the third quarter is the period where elite teams strip away the noise and separate themselves through sheer talent and execution.
This is where the attrition of greatness really begins to show.
The attrition of greatness. I love that phrasing.
Yeah, because in this specific game, Anthony Davis completely anchors the defense in the third quarter. He positions himself in the paint in a way that essentially creates a no-fly zone.
Okay, let's break down how he actually does that mechanically. Because he's not just swatting every single ball into the stands.
Not at all. It's about positioning and intimidation. AD uses what's called drop coverage.
Drop coverage. Okay.
Yeah, so he positions his body between the ball handler and the basket while using his massive wingspan to take away passing angles. He doesn't even have to block the shot. Just by being there, he alters the trajectory of the ball.
So it's a mental game.
Completely mental. A guard driving to the rim sees AD, panics slightly, and changes at the release point to avoid getting blocked.
Just a slight hesitation.
That tiny adjustment is usually enough to cause a miss. He systematically forces the Wizards into settling for long, highly contested two-point jumpers.
Which is statistically the least efficient shot in basketball.
Exactly.
And while AD is locking down the paint, creating that defensive wall, the Lakers' offense finds a terrifying rhythm on the other end. LeBron starts attacking the basket with real authority.
But he's not just looking to score.
Right. He's actively seeking out contact to draw fouls.
Which is an incredibly calculated move on his part.
Why is that so impactful?
Well, drawing fouls does three things simultaneously. First, it guarantees high percentage shots at the free throw line. Second, it stops the game clock, which gives his older, veteran teammates a chance to catch their breath.
Oh, that makes sense. Free rest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And third, it deeply frustrates the young Wizards players who feel like they're playing great defense but just keep getting penalized.
The arena just erupts during this stretch. You get these massive highlight plays, a thunderous dunk, a no-look pass that leaves the defense totally frozen, a clutch three-pointer to cap off a run. The machine just starts humming.
And conversely, the Wizards struggle to keep pace. Their offense becomes highly inconsistent.
It's a snowball effect.
It creates a vicious cycle. When they miss those contested jumpers forced by AD's defense, the Lakers grab the rebound and immediately push the ball the other way.
So the Lakers build a comfortable lead just by capitalizing on the Wizards' forced mistakes.
Yes.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because whenever this happens, the standard narrative on sports talk shows is always, well, star power just took over.
Right, that's the cliche.
But isn't it also just sheer physical and mental exhaustion for the Wizards? I mean, think about it. Chasing LeBron James and Anthony Davis around for a half has to take a massive cumulative toll on a young team.
Oh, the data and the tape absolutely back that up. This raises an important question about efficiency versus effort.
Right.
For the young Wizards, just trying to get a shot off against a set Lakers defense requires burning an immense amount of energy.
Do they have to move so much?
Yeah, they're running off multiple screens, cutting at full speed, and fighting through heavy contact just to attempt a contested low-percentage shot.
Going back to our analogy from the beginning, they are sprinting on a treadmill.
Exactly. But the Lakers, because of their experience and the sheer gravity of their stars, are generating easy, efficient looks.
Explain gravity real quick for us.
Sure. Gravity in basketball refers to how much attention a player commands from the defense. LeBron, standing completely still with the ball, can draw the eyes and bodies of three different defenders.
Just by standing there.
Just by standing there.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that gravitational pull, all he has to do is make one simple pass, and a teammate is wide open. The Lakers aren't working twice as hard, they are working twice as smart.
So by the end of the third quarter,
By the end of the third, the Wizards aren't just getting outplayed, their legs are heavy. They're getting exhausted by the relentless efficiency of the Lakers system.
the attrition of greatness. It's a heavy weight to bear when you're playing against a team that doesn't waste a single movement,
It really is.
which sets the stage for the final act, the fourth quarter.
A closer.
Right. The Lakers have built this comfortable lead, but this final section examines the ultimate test. Can the Wizards' youthful desperation crack the Lakers' veteran armor in the closing minutes?
It's the classic fight or finish dynamic. The Wizards begin the fourth quarter with sheer, unadulterated urgency. They know the clock is their biggest enemy now.
So they go all out.
They push the tempo one last time, they trap the ball handler, they gamble on steals, they force a couple of rare Lakers turnovers, and they hit some heavily contested quick shots.
And suddenly they string together a run, and they shrink the lead down to single digits.
The tension fills the arena all over again.
You can almost feel the shift in the building. It genuinely feels for a moment like an upset is brewing. The underdog is making their final stand.
But this is where experience matters most, because LeBron senses the moment. And what he does next is so counterintuitive to a young player.
What does he do?
Well, when the pressure spikes, a young player usually speeds up. They try to match the urgency.
Right, they panic.
LeBron does the exact opposite. He slows down.
He shrinks the game.
Exactly. He takes complete control of the pace. He dribbles the ball near half court, letting the shot clock bleed down to the final seconds before making his move.
Because that burns the game clock.
Right. By doing this, he is actively limiting the number of possessions left in the game. Fewer possessions mean less variance, which mathematically crushes the Wizards' chances of a comeback.
It's just cold math at that point.
He makes incredibly smart, low-risk decisions and delivers these powerful drives and perfectly timed assists right when the pressure is at its absolute highest.
And AD complements that masterfully by completely shutting down the paint on the other end, and more importantly, grabbing every crucial defensive rebound.
Yeah, a defensive stop isn't actually a stop until you secure the rebound.
Exactly. Together, they form this combination that is just incredibly difficult to overcome in a high-leverage situation.
The Lakers execute with total clinical precision. They make their crucial free throws down the stretch. They communicate flawlessly on defensive switches to prevent open three-pointers, and the game just slowly, inevitably slips out of the Wizards' reach.
It's the clinical finish that veteran teams are known for.
Yeah.
I want you to think about this in your own career or daily life for a second.
It translates so perfectly.
It really does. When the pressure is at its absolute highest, the deadline is looming, and the tension in the room is thick enough to cut with a knife, how do you react?
Do you panic?
Right. Do you panic, rely on adrenaline, and speed up like the young Wizards? Or do you take a breath, slow the game down, trust your experience, rely on your underlying structure, and execute like the veteran Lakers?
That is the perfect way to contextualize it. Because if we step back and synthesize this entire deep dive, this single game actually validates both franchises' current timelines.
And I mean, it feels like the Lakers proved everything, and the Wizards just hit a wall.
Well, for the Lakers, the win obviously does exactly what it needs to do. It reinforces their status as formidable contenders. They proved their championship mettle.
They show they can withstand chaotic pressure.
Yeah, rely on the immense gravity of their star power and execute flawlessly in critical moments. They did what veterans are supposed to do.
But you think the Wizards get something out of this too?
Oh, absolutely. The Wizards, despite losing the game, showed real flashes of potential, resilience, and determination. They prove they aren't going to just roll over and back down when they get punched in the mouth.
That youthful energy is real.
It is. But more importantly, they gained the